All right, we're back with a little quick maintenance video. 2010 Nissan Altima. A buddy of mine has just reached over the 100,000 mile mark and he wants a set of plugs and an oil change, so we're going to get into that. And today I have a guest mechanic on the show because I managed to throw my back out. So y'all come along. All right, so real quick, we're going to go over what he brought me. He supplied all of the parts, and I'm supplying the labor. He wanted his coils changed, and he also went and bought Nissan from the dealer spark plugs. So, of course, we've got 3/8 inch ratchet extension and a 10 millimeter socket to release the coils, 14 millimeter wrench for the drain plug, and the oil filter we can probably undo with our hand. So, with that said, let's go move into actually getting the work done. All right, so we're down here, 14 millimeter lined up, and get the oil drain plug out of it, and let the oil come on out. All right, oil's out, time to put the plug back in. Give it a little good snug. That's good. Does not have to be that tight. I'll wipe off your drip. All right, inside your wheel well, on the passenger side, is a splash shield. You can slide the splash shield over and reach up and access your oil filter. All right, on these 2010 Nissans, the oil filter is located behind that splash shield that he has his thumb on. Reach up and touch the filter so you can see about where it is. There it is right there. So you just have to crack it, put the oil pan up under it, and allow it to drizzle and drain. And it's going to, the way it's designed is pour. It's going to go all over your frame member. Just let it sit there and drain. Stop turning. Thank you. Now let it finish draining. Just make sure you have your pan under it. So we're going to let that drain for a minute. Yep. All right, oil filter is off. He is inspecting to make sure that the gasket is stuck to the old oil filter before screwing the new filter onto the base. And is it? Mm-hmm. All right, and we're going to put a little lube on there now that we've established that the old gasket came off, and get up in there and spin the new one on. It's kind of tight, but it's not hard to do. It's really not as bad as you'd think. Different oil filters have different tightening sequences. Whatever oil filter you have, read what they say to do and tighten it to their specifications. Okay, now it's time to top this baby off. All right, time to dump it in. It's 4.9 quarts. We're just going to take it on up to 5. All right, Ben is underneath, and I am in the vehicle, and I'm going to crank it, and he is going to check to see if there's any leaks, and I make sure that the oil light goes out. And shut it off before we build up a lot of heat in it, because we got to do the plugs next. Good to go? Good to go. No leaks. All right. Let's get set up, and we're going to pull these plugs and change these coils. All right, well, we're set up. and we're ready. We've changed the oil, and now we're getting ready to pull this top engine cover off. 5mm Allen hex key. Turn to the left. Use the other end. They're already all loosened. There you go. Lay them up there on your rain tray. Lay them up there on that rain tray. All right, cover ought to lift straight off now. Voila. Now what we have here is coil on plugs. All right, straight over the top of each cylinder. It's a very straightforward, easy job. The first thing you're going to need to do is go ahead and get them unplugged. Push down on the tab and pull. Probably never been off before, so they're probably going to be a little snug. There you go. Just lay them back out of the way. Try not to get too ham-handed with it. There you go. Ben doesn't typically do a lot of mechanic work, so I thought this would be a good opportunity for him to get a little more experience. Having trouble with that one?
Yeah, it's blocked by the...
Let me see what we're blocked by. Okay, there's an easy fix for that too. Try it now. Okay, so what I did there is this wire loom holder, you push in on each side with a pair of pliers and you can slide it back, and that'll give you enough room to get your coil pack unplugged. All right, you got your 10mm socket? You do. All right, start at one end and just take the bolts out. And as you take them out, lay them up here in your rain tray so you don't lose them. You bought me a ratchet for Christmas. Didn't know you'd be the first one to use it, did you?
Exactly.
All right, they all ought to come loose by hand now, so you can get me thunder. Take time, don't get sloppy so you don't drop bolts. We don't have replacements for these, only lay it in the rain tray as you pull them out. Well, you know where they are. All right, you should be able to give the coils a little twist and they'll should come straight up out of there. And lift straight up. There you go. Now, something to keep in mind, if you have a lot of dirt, which I don't see a lot of dirt on top of this motor, you may want to take some compressed air and blow it off. Just lift straight up, pull. It might be stuck. There you go. But there's not a lot of dirt and debris on top of this motor, so it's pretty good. Now, we have that extension with that new 5/8 socket that he brought with a magnet. Let's see if we can get it out of that packaging.
14mm.
It's 14mm? Oh, that's right. These Nissan plugs are a little smaller. I'm going to crack all of these loose because this motor is still warm It is recommended that this motor be stone cold when you do this. But we have let it cool down. It is not recommended that you pull these as soon as you shut this engine off. You should allow the engine to cool some. I know what I'm feeling for, and to stop if they don't immediately release, because the last thing you want to have to do is a thread repair in your cylinder head. So far so good, they all feel just right. All right, Ben, I'll let you go ahead and finish taking those out and lean over. It's not doing my back any good right now. We'll see how this magnetic socket works. Keep on there, kind of they're long-winded threads. And that socket works great. All right, let's see if they give any tightening instructions. Tighten the spark plug with finger first, then screw about 1/2 to 2/3. And it says conical seat plugs, about 7/16 more turn with plug wrench. So, while he's pulling those, when you go back together with it, I'll explain what they're trying to say, and I'll show you. There it is. Voila. All right, grab the anti-seize that he brought. Now, I'm going to say this about... Here, can put on me. All right, I'm going to say this about the anti-seize. I'm not a big fan of putting anti-seize on plugs, and here's why. If you're not real careful with it, the anti-seize over time, as it heats, will wick down and will actually get on the electrode and will short the electrode out and will cause a random misfire. But he wants anti-seize put on his plugs. He bought it. I'm going to put some on. But here, come on in close again. I'm only going to put it towards the very, very top and around this seal right here, because you do not want this stuff to come down and get on the electrode. It will cause a random misfire. So we're going to be very, very sparing with the anti-seize. I have actually had that happen with a Dodge Grand Caravan and could not figure out what in the world was going on, and did a little reading and some research, and they suggested that it could be the anti-seize causing the issue. So now we're going to get into the correct tightening procedure and what they're talking about. All right, they're talking about take it down as far as it'll go, that you can get it by hand. All right, and then it said on the box another 1/2 to 2/3, and then to go about a 1/16 more. I'm going by feel because I know what I'm feeling for. Now, let me get another plug. Come on in here, Mr. Cameraman. Come on in here, Mr. Cameraman. Let's get in close and I'll explain about the tightening procedure. Okay, first thing they want you to do is to take it down until the head just barely seats on this gasket. These gaskets are crush sleeves, okay? So you take it down 1/2 to 2/3 of a turn to crush that sleeve to make the seal, okay? And then you go another 1/16 or snug to make sure that the plug is tight, okay? So that it doesn't come out. These plugs do not need to be extremely tight in this head. You will strip them out, or if you don't do it the way they say, they'll end up being loose and end up blowing out of there. So follow the instructions. You can put the plugs. Hold plug back on. Box is going on. All right, so he also brought brand new coil packs. On a Nissan that's this model, I don't necessarily know that it needs these coil packs. This is the same kind that we put on at work. It looks exactly the same type coil. We've had these go almost 500,000 miles before giving any issues. This vehicle only has 112. Don't know that I necessarily would say that you need to put coils on one, but he bought the parts and wants them put on, so we're going to put them on. Now, when you install spark plug wires or coil packs, it's a good idea to put a little bit of dielectric grease right here around the boot, because that helps it keep it from sticking from the boot, seals it from any moisture it might get in there, and keeps you from having a random misfire. So we're going to open this up and apply a little dielectric grease to all the electrical connectors. You can even put a little bit on the where the wires plug in as well. And like I said, it helps dissipate moisture, keeps everything making a good electrical connection. So doesn't take a lot, just a little dab in each hole. All right, now you can just take and smear a little just across the front of your electrical connectors so that it'll get pushed up in there when you plug it back up. All right, Ben, you ready to take back over?
As I'll ever be.
As he'll ever be, he says. All right, just line up your bolt hole and stick it straight down in there, and you may have to use just a little pressure to push it down on the plug. You can go on and do insert all four. Feel like it's seating on the plug good? He doesn't speak, he just nods. All right, there you go. There's your socket, and all you should need is a ratchet. All right, on these, you have to remember that you're tightening steel inserts that are set in plastic, so you don't want to get carried away. So start gently taking it down till you start feeling when it stops. And then just go just a teeny more. Once you get it to where it stops. That's probably enough, because it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't take much. That's probably enough. There you go. All right, now we can plug all our connectors back up. And if you look, you see they have these guide on either side. That's what you're trying to line up. So if we need to add some relief on that one, I can. You get it? Should have a satisfying click when you get it plugged in all the way.
Oh, it's satisfying, but it's in there.
Didn't have that satisfying click, but it is locked.
That one had it.
That one had a little satisfying click. Good. That one had a satisfying click. All right, and line that up, and there you go. Had that satisfying little snap. All right, we can, before we put that engine cover back on, let's go ahead, let's fire it up. Get a light rev. Lightly rev it. Sounds smooth. All right. Now we can throw the engine cover back on and call this project done. All right, so that's all there is to changing the plugs and coil packs on the 2010 Nissan Altima with the 2.5 liter. I'd like to thank you for coming by today, and I'd also like to thank my assistant, Ben. He came out to give me a hand because my back's broke in about 10 places in the bottom. At least it feels that way. So if you'd like to see more of what goes on in a real world garage, watch another video coming on the screen right now.